Ailbhe Keane for Izzy Wheels, if you want to wave your hand there to everyone. Also, we have Madden as well from Fenu Health, and Naomi McGregor. And Naomi has a company called MoveTru. So my name is Mary Carty, and on behalf of the Awakenhub team, Mary McKenna, Claire McGee, and Sinead Crowley, I'm really delighted that you're all with us tonight. So this event tonight is a celebration of next generation female founders, and it's inspired by their journey and their bravery. And I know we have a huge amount to learn tonight from them. So first of all, to tell you what we're going to do today, we will have a very short session where the speakers will introduce themselves and their business. Then we will move on to a breakout room for about 10 minutes or so. So have your 6 words ready. And then we will come back to a panel discussion where I will lead the questions with the 3 founders. Then we'll move back into another breakout session for 10 minutes. That's just pure networking. And from there, then you can hopefully meet some new people, make some more introductions. And finally, our co-founder, Claire McGee, will lead out on a questions and answers. So if you have any questions at all, please put them in the chat. That would be really, really useful. So a little bit of housekeeping before we start. We will be recording this session tonight, so please tweet, and our handle is @Awakenhub. Please share any inspiration or anything that you find useful and interesting from tonight. And we will put up the recordings and everything else on our website as we go. Okay, are we all ready? Yes, good. All right, so let's kick off. First questions then. Annie, could you tell us please a little bit about you and your business?
Oh yeah, there, perfect. Yeah, so my name's Annie and I'm 19. So I'm currently in University College Cork, and so is my sister Kate, and she's 20. So we both set up the business together. So it's called Fenu Health, and it's products for horses, so the equine industry. We set it up about 6 years ago in 2015. So I was 13 and Kate was 14, and we set it up through the BT Young Scientist exhibition. And then I guess it blew up pretty quickly, and we've developed more products since then. So we have 7 products now, all relating around horses. We've 1 product for racing camels, but that's as far as we've branched so far. And yeah, so it's really exciting, loving it at the moment, and just constantly growing it and expanding. So that's a brief introduction of me.
I will be back to you about the camels. Okay. Naomi, can you introduce yourself, please, and tell me a little about your business and where the idea for it came from, please?
Hi everybody, I am Naomi McGregor and I founded MoveTru, which came from my own background, which is in ballet. At 4, I started doing ballet, started teaching at 13, and then at 14 I actually injured myself. Took 3 years and 8 specialists to diagnose the issue. So I thought there has to be a better way to recover from injury. And fast forward to my master's dissertation in product design engineering, I decided to study how I could do this and created an idea and then continued to develop it. Couldn't walk away from the business, and here I am still developing it 12 months post-graduation. So
you didn't think back then that maybe your passion for dance would lead to a whole other career, did you?
No, and my mom definitely didn't either. When I told her I'm starting a business inspired by ballet, I think she really questioned initially what I was going to do, not realizing that it would be completely tech. So MoveTru aims to reduce rehabilitation time by 27% through wearable technology and allowing you to actually understand your rehabilitation on your phone and be able to have a physiotherapist with you anywhere you are.
Incredible. I'll be back to you about product design and the lessons you learned from dance. So I'll be back. And Ailbhe, can you tell us please a little bit about your background, please, and what inspired you to start Izzy Wheels?
So hi everybody, I'm Ailbhe and I'm the co-founder and the creative director of Izzy Wheels. Izzy Wheels was inspired by my sister Izzy, who was born with spina bifida. So she is paralysed from her waist down and has been a wheelchair user all of her life. And she's always loved her wheelchair, and it's what helps her get around. It gives her her freedom, and is the first thing that people would notice about her. But she never felt like it was a reflection of her personality. So when she was younger, would always love customizing it, and it would change how people would interact with her, because they would say, "Oh wow, I love your wheels," and that made her feel really good. So I went on to study graphic design in NCAD, and I decided for my final year to create a range of wheel covers for my sister's chair that made her feel more confident and that expressed her personality. So we called the brand Izzy Wheels, and our tagline became, "If you can't stand up, stand out." And since then, everything we've done has been about standing out. We've worked with 90 different designers. We've worked with Barbie, we've worked with Hello Kitty. We're selling in 40 countries, and we were named on Forbes 30 Under 30. And we are trying to build an inclusive brand, and we're only just beginning.
Amazing. I'm going to come back to you about licensing and partnerships, because that's huge.
Yeah.
And maybe a little bit about the stereotypes about artists and business. Yeah. Okay. Right then. So that will give you a taster for the conversation we're going to have after the breakout room. So we're going to move into breakout rooms now for about 10 minutes. Please use your 6 words to introduce yourself. Make sure that everybody gets something to say, and enjoy the experience. See you in a minute.
Sorry, Liz.
And had some really great conversations. So now we'll move into the panel discussion with our 3 founders. And Ailbhe, I might start with you. You spoke about design and designing for your sister and your sister's personality as the inspiration. So can you tell me why universal design is so important, and what is the benefit for business from it?
Sure. So I've obviously grown up around disability. My sister was born when I was 4, so I've always grown up kind of getting to know all the different gadgets she had, and she had a lot of friends from Enable Ireland and Wheelchair Association who had various disabilities. So it's always been something that I've been very aware of from a very young age, that it's completely underserved. And like, I've always known that it probably was a space I was kind of going to go into, because it was so obvious to me that there were so many things that weren't accessible for my sister and for her friends, and just didn't work the way they should. I think as a designer, I felt a responsibility to create something. And I think like designers are really good business people, and that's something that I think a lot of people overlook, are like, is the fact that designers are really creative thinkers and they're creative problem solvers. And when you apply that to business, it makes them very good business people. And I think like the way school is, like, people think that you're either good at art or you're good at business, but I mean the two are actually very complementary to each other. So I think that needs to be encouraged in school way more. Like, I went to school thinking I was really bad at business, and it was actually something I was really good at. I just didn't know, because of the way it was kind of taught in school. I thought business was all about accounting, and that's only one tiny aspect of it. And I think that's changing now, and that's exciting. And in terms of, universal design, I think brands, and especially the fashion world, they need to listen to the needs of people with different abilities and who have different disabilities, because you might think it's a small market, but globally it is a huge market, and it's completely underserved. And these are people who want to look good and want to feel good, and it's really hard for them to get clothes that work for them. So I think brands need to ask people with disabilities what they need, what their needs are, because I know what they are because I've lived that first-hand experience having a sister with a disability. So brands need to ask people what their needs are and have more people with disabilities at those decision making. So have a person with a disability on your board. That's a great start.
I like that idea. And the thing is, great design and universal design will benefit all of us.
100%.
That's the amazing thing, right?
Yeah.
I want to ask you about your partnerships with Hello Kitty and Barbie. I mean, straight off the bat, that's incredible. And we've had a question from one of our members, Emma Murphy, and she wanted to know, what is your advice about licensing? Specifically, you're going global with a big brand. What should you do as a small company?
Well, I guess you need to understand, like, you have to be very protective of your own brand. And say for Izzy Wheels, like, we're a really do good brand, and that makes it, a lot of other brands would like to partner with Izzy Wheels because it would make them look good. Mm-hmm. So we've had to be really protective of our brand and make sure that who we work with have their morals are aligned to ours and that they're doing it for the right reasons. And there has to be something for both of you to benefit from it. With Barbie, that was the first big global brand we worked with. And they actually approached us. So they saw the work that we were doing in the disability space, and they wanted to launch a new Barbie who used a wheelchair. So they said to us, would we like to work with them on launching a new doll? And before we progressed with it at all, we wanted to make sure that the wheelchair worked and that it was a proper representation of a wheelchair, that it wasn't just like a toy, because this is an amazing way for kids to learn about disabilities and to normalize it from a really young age. Like, Izzy never had a doll that looked like her, and neither did any of her friends. So I actually have the Barbie here. Good. This is her, and she has wheel covers that match her outfit. So the idea is that your wheelchair can be something really cool and something fun, and it just normalizes it from a young age. So that was an amazing introduction for us to working with the big brand, and we learned so much. Like, the amount of paperwork that comes with a brand like that is enormous. So you just have to be really careful, like, that if you work with a brand that big, that, they actually own those photographs if you sign them away, and they can do whatever they want with them. So you have to be really protective of you and your brand, especially for a brand like Izzy Wheels, where me and Izzy are the face of the brand, and you don't want to just sign that off to somebody else to do what they want. So like, the creative direction of our brand, we made sure that we still had the full creative direction of what we were wearing, say. So we learned so much from that collaboration, and Barbie were really great. And with that knowledge then, like, my dream collaboration was always Hello Kitty. I was obsessed with Hello Kitty, and it's actually why I wanted to become a graphic designer. Was I was always thought it was so cool to design your own cartoon character and how you could apply that to different products, and like, Hello Kitty is enormous. So I basically became a professional stalker, and that's how we got the job with Hello Kitty. I hunted them down. I looked up who works in Hello Kitty, who worked in Sanrio, which is like their parent company, and how could I get in touch with someone from marketing? Like, I don't have any contacts in this industry whatsoever. I didn't know anyone who worked for Hello Kitty, so I just had to hunt them down. So there's this amazing event for anyone who's looking to partner with a brand, and it's called the Brand Licensing Expo. And I saw that someone from Hello Kitty was going to be at this event. So I booked a ticket over to London and just hunted them down and told them why they need to work with Izzy Wheels and why this is an amazing opportunity for them. And like, when you're kind of negotiating a deal with like that, you have to tell the person why they can't not work with you, like why it's such an amazing opportunity and they can't not work with you. So that's how that worked. And with a collaboration like that, like, there's about a year of planning before anything is announced. Like there's so much planning, the photo shoots, like designing the actual product, approving all of them, the logos, everything goes through a lot of systems. So my advice is pick a brand, look into their background, make sure that they are aligned to you, and then just hunt them down and tell them that they can't miss an opportunity like working with your brand.
And then you're badass to actually make it all happen and do all the things you promised to do.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the piece. Maria Staunton has asked a question on the Eventbrite, and you've touched on it there. Why is innovation important? And why is it particularly important to women and young women?
I mean, like innovation is something that is in all of us, and like it's so important to exercise that part of your brain. And like groups like this, like meetups like this, are so important to meet other women who are driven and who are innovative. And it's really important to surround yourself with other people kind of who are like-minded. Like if you're that way inclined, like surround yourself with other people, like find a mentor. That's been something that's always been really important. Find a mentor who you really look up to, who you think is an amazing innovator, and see how they got to where they are. And like Ireland is such an amazing place in that everyone is so nice, and well, most people are so nice, and people are so generous with their time. So if there is someone that you really look up to who you think is an amazing innovator, like reach out. Like you learn so much from each other, and that's my advice.
I love it. That's perfect. Last question for you. And this one came in from Orla Fahan, and she wanted to know, what was your inflection point, do you think?
My inflection point?
Yeah, at what point do you think things caught fire?
Well, I guess like I never knew this was going to become a business. Like this was very much a passion project and something that like me and Izzy just loved doing. As soon as we started posting photos online, it really started to like gain a following, and people were wondering where they could get the designs. And like I set this up when I was 22 and Izzy was 18. So we were very young and we didn't really have anything to lose. So we just kind of went for it, and it picked up. Like the first kind of big break we got was very random, and it was at my grad show. I had like a wheelchair and like all like really colourful wheel covers hanging from the ceiling, and it was all a bit mad, but it looked cool. And someone from RTE Nationwide saw it and said, "Do you guys want to be on Nationwide?" And like I had no idea how many people watched Nationwide, so we were like, "Yeah, okay." And like everybody watches Nationwide, so which is mad, and that just gave us so much exposure which we weren't expecting, and kind of since then we got like press coverage and the ball kind of started rolling. And then the biggest thing, I guess, that brought it from like a project into like a business was collaborating with other people. So at the beginning it was just me doing the designs, and I knew that wasn't sustainable. So I asked 10 of my favorite designers, these are people I knew from college or illustrators I knew from Ireland, did they want to create a design? And everyone said yes. And we did this. We also had no money as well. I was a broke student. And so everything was just kind of like, we did it ourselves. And we did this thing called a role model fashion show. And we did it with the Irish Wheelchair Association. And we rented a room. A hotel gave us a room in Dublin. And we just did like a fashion show and took photographs, put them online. And someone from the Late Late saw the photos and said, would you recreate this on the Late Late Show, which we did. And that has a huge viewership. And then someone who saw that from Business Insider said, can we make a video about this? And we said yes. And that video got viewed 3 million times in a day and 16 million times in a week. So that all that happened in the space of a few weeks. So it was bananas. And that was like 4 years ago now, and that was definitely when things kind of rocket launched, and we're more organized now. So when there's exposure like that, we're able to handle it.
You're ready. I love it. Thank you so much. That's just incredible story. Thank you. Naomi, I might move on to you now.
Sure.
And another question from our audience, from Laura Carroll. What was the biggest obstacle you faced when you started your business? Was it fear of failure, or funds, or confidence, or I don't know, what was it? What did you experience?
I think my biggest fear at the start was telling my parents that I'm gonna decline my grad job to go for a startup. Because I did have my grad job lined up. Whenever I decided in July that I wanted to do it as a business, I had to let my grad job know by September, and I had to find a way to have some kind of money coming in. So I kind of like had a 2-month deadline so that I could really go for it. And then in terms of obstacles, I've found that it's been really good in terms of advice, and that's what, the more I reach out to people, the more they're forthcoming they are to it. So I think for me, I initially was nervous to ask for it, and I felt a bit out of place to say, do you have anybody that could speak to me about this? And when I started speaking to major league sports teams, and whenever I got speaking to like Juilliard Ballet, I really started thinking, wow, this is my nerve point. I don't feel like I should be speaking to them. And then I realized that, well, if it's not me, I don't see anybody else doing it, so I need to go for it now. And then I think for me, the less I thought about, is this the right thing to do, and a case of just doing it and taking the opportunities, the less I worried about the obstacles and kind of just took them head on.
Yeah, and that leads in really nicely to my next question, and I love when that happens. Maria Staunton wondered, where does the growth mindset come?
Well,
something you were born with, or do you think, or was it something that you've learned along the way?
I think it's a combination, because I think there's certain natural things that people can see when they're young, and then they get it from their environment. Definitely my mom was a major inspiration for me, because she opened a bike store, and I was 8 years old, and I saw men coming in quite frequently to say, do you have a man about? I need my bike fixed, or I need to speak about a bike. And she'd turn around and go, and they're on their lunch, can I serve you until then? And then by the end of the conversation, she had sorted the sale, everything was done and dusted, and she had proved that she knew what she was talking about. So instead of her overthinking about it, she just did it. So again, I think that's where I got that growth from. But I also, whenever I was doing for my final year, and even throughout my university, I wasn't sure if I should do engineering. I came from an all-girls high school, and I really doubted if I should do it. And when I went to work in one place, I was told a female shouldn't be engineer. And there were certain moments that I doubted it, but I realized the more I surrounded myself with people that really were so against the grain, that the more I stopped caring. And there are some really amazing books that I've also read, and I think it's going to different courses and meeting new people and realizing how inspiring other people are being. Like these events afterwards, I always feel like I can go do anything. So it's going to things like this that I think really help that growth mindset. And whenever I kind of doubted myself, there was one thing that I was advised to do, that was just write down the accomplishments. So before going into an event, I started writing down things that I could do, and I would look at myself in the mirror and be like, you can do this. And I just felt so much better by just having that like affirmation of myself, that I've done so much to date, that let's try and do another thing. And then see, so
you're adding to the skills and to your accomplishments, and you use them as the next stepping stone to the next thing. Yeah, I love that idea. I'm really curious. One of the reasons why I brought you three girls together tonight was because all of you have built businesses from your passion, creative passions, dance, horses, writing, and art. And I think what's really sad is so many people give up on those types of passions as they go through life and get older. And I'd love to know, Naomi, from your perspective, what skills have you brought over into business that you learned as a dancer?
Well, I think with dance, there are so many things that complement it. I don't think I would be comfortable speaking on stage as much as I am now, because I was on stage all the time. And when I was younger, whenever we had an exam, you would have had one examiner that came in and she would sit at the front of the room, and it was terrifying. And we were told the worst thing you can do is stop, because even if you make up a dance in the spot, she can mark you. But if you stop, then she can't tell anything. So that's kind of what I've always done with, even if I'm presenting or if I'm going to do any development, if I stop, I can't show anybody what I've done. But if I keep going, if I make mistakes, that's okay, because I can learn from it. But then, so it's really that quick thinking of just go, just try it and learn. And then with ballet, it was really, I think with any art, you become really resilient, because art is quite personal. And whenever someone turns around and says something negative about it, you have to get thick-skinned. So having a separate little passion, like, and being able to take criticism for it, I think is a big benefit, because you learn from it, and within art you need it. And so then having that benefit, you just really move forward and actually develop. So I think I would have felt far more uncomfortable speaking and doing things that were really personal to me. And I think whenever I went forward and said I was going to go for ballet, and I was told in my very first business pitch, take ballet out, never mention ballet. This is nothing to do with engineering. Don't speak about it. And I went to my second pitch and didn't say anything about it. And then I went to my third pitch and was like, this is wrong. I have to include it. It goes back in. I wouldn't be doing this without ballet. So including passions is a massive point of mine, that I think without having the arts and engineering, I couldn't do my business. So I have to include the primary reason of me doing my business in everything.
And the gap in the market you've spotted because you've combined the two. So that's really important. And also, I guess ballet feeds your soul still, and dance feeds your soul when you need some downtime for your business. So hold on to your passions, people. Last question. Designing a new product, right? Particularly in that medical rehabilitation space, that's difficult. And for any founder here who's looking to move into that medical device, medical assistant, any of the medical products, any of that area, what advice would you give them? 2 top tips, please.
Speak to somebody within the medical industry, because they can immediately say, this is what you need to do and this is how much it's going to cost, because it's a lot. And 2, can you find a way for your product to enter the market, to start earning money without having medical trials? Because for me, I can go into the elite sports industry and I don't have to have high medical grade approvals, and then I can go into medical, which is what I want to do. I want to be able to go into medical and help people that have had knee replacements. And I want, like, because it's quite personal to me that I've seen it happen in my family, that I feel like it's a major benefit they could have. So try and find a way that you can enter the market to make money and prove it, and then go into medical, because going straight into medical will be really difficult. So try and find a little.
And incredibly expensive.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That's been incredible. Thank you so much, Naomi. Annie, I might move on to you. So you started your company at 13.
Yep.
And I'm curious to find out what you did or what strategies you developed to be heard as a 13-year-old and taken seriously.
Yeah, I think it was definitely difficult, because like I was 13, Kate was 14, and we're kind of in like the agri sector already is kind of male dominated, and then we're like young and female, and it was kind of a bit daunting at the start. But I think really when it mattered, like I remember we were in our very first trade show was in Germany, in a trade show called Equitana, which is one of the largest horse trade fairs in the world. and we were meeting people. We were only there for about 3 or 4 days. It was only 2 or 3 months into having a business idea, let alone having a physical product. And we were finding it really hard to be taken seriously. And as you said, being really young, people just overlooked you. And I think that was definitely difficult. But by the second or third day, the people we were meeting at the trade fair kind of realized, oh, maybe these kids, like literal kids, have something and have a good idea. And then people just started to slowly take us seriously. And I also think that people, like the people that took us seriously from the start are the people that are still helping us, and the people we're collabing with today on different projects. And I think they realized, regardless of age or gender or anything, that an idea is an idea and it can still have potential no matter who it's coming from. I think that was really interesting. And I think you definitely can meet better people that way. Like some people will just rule you out altogether, but generally the ones that can actually help and are willing to help won't rule you out and will listen to you and hear you out. And if they think it's a bad idea, they'll tell you it's a bad idea, but it won't be because of any other reason. And I think that's something we learned really early on, is just take the advice, definitely, but even if someone tells you it's not perfect, like you can work on it and try and improve it to make it perfect.
I love that idea about you at that expo and just killing it. That just makes me so happy to talk to you. Selling into international markets like you do, and to people who have camels, got to get back to that. How do you go about selling to 5 royal families? How?
Yeah, so obviously a lot of the royal families would be hugely into horses. It's a big thing, and hugely popular. So really the simple answer is they're just like any other customer, really. Yes, obviously they're royals, so it seems a bit more kind of interesting or something. I don't even know how to describe it. But obviously it has a huge impact on the business. And being able to say it, I think, is probably one of the biggest advantages. And even being able to, like, we've publicly met Prince Charles and the Duchess of Cornwall, and then also Prince Harry and Meghan. So obviously that has a huge impact on sales straight away. So that's a huge benefit. But I think kind of getting to that stage, it was just treating them as normal customers, normal people with horses that have issues, and our products are there to solve those issues. And I think any horse can be affected, whether it's a horse owned by a royal or owned by a little girl with a small pony. They all have, like, loads of them have stomach problems and they have all sorts of problems, and it was just trying to fix those and being the best match for everyone. And it definitely has its advantages selling to royals, I won't lie, but yeah, just like any other customer.
So it's back to the mission about helping those horses. I love that idea. And actually that leads in really nicely to the next question that Grace Mullins has asked, actually. How does your product then differ from others on the market? And was it difficult actually making a product that was completely natural?
Yeah, so starting the first part, so our product differs. Basically it's products for stomach problems in horses. So there is other companies out there. There is a huge market for it. There's no point saying otherwise, but I think a lot of the products, there's a weaning off period. So trying to explain it simply, you'd have to take the horse off the product 4 or 5 days before a race or a competition, because of doping regulations. So with stomach problems, gastric ulcers, these can develop within 48 hours, 72 hours. So if you've weaned your horse off them for 4 or 5 days, the horse is back to the state it was in by the time it's at the competition or the race. You've kind of you've taken away any good work you've done. So with our product, that's where we brought on the 100% natural part of it. And by being 100% natural and through the mix of herbs and spices we were using, we could kind of not meet those, we could not pass that line with the doping, and make it safe to use up to and on the day of a competition or a race, so they could continue to use it the whole way up. And that was really what made us stand out. And I think that was really important for people, because you weren't just solving the problem, but you were solving it so that the horse could perform better as a result. And obviously that's hugely important when you're dealing with horses worth millions and millions of euro. And then, yeah, just making it 100% natural was important to us as well, even beyond the doping. I think it's much better for the horse, and obviously as an animal, and they're already being taken out of a natural environment, and we put them in stables and we do different things with them. And not that that's a bad thing, it can be a great thing, but I think trying to balance that as well and bringing in the natural element of it was a thing people really liked. And I think that made us unique. And whether it's an advantage to the horse or the person, that depends as well. But we think it was an advantage to both, because people like to feed their animals well and naturally. I think it was important to us anyway.
I think you definitely reached into a trend there around animal health and being more natural all around. Final question: how long does it take you to develop a new product?
Yeah, so it definitely varies. At the start, like our first product was, what was our first product? It was just simple flavoring for horse food. Like that was all it was. So simple, nothing to it. It was just a flavor that you added on top of the feed. So that was just a simple trial we did with a couple of hundred horses, seeing which flavors they preferred more, to be honest. It was really, really simple. We were only 13 and 14. It was nothing too complex, like. And then from there, we obviously brought in our main products, which are for stomach problems. And they took a while to develop and get right. And I think I think we had 152 different formulas before we got it right. So that took a while. Definitely worth it in the end. Had to keep going through that one. But yeah, at the moment we've another few products in development. Because obviously you've got to keep up with the market, and it is a business at the end of the day. So you have to fix the problems the owners want fixed. And so yeah, constantly coming up with new products. Yeah, so just depending on what's wanted. But normally it can vary between a few months and a few years, really. Some of them are much more complex than the others. The racing camel one was a bit of a quick one, I would lie. It was developed in the space of a few months. That was an interesting one to do. It was our customers over in the Middle East, kind of Dubai, Saudi. They wanted a product for their camels, their racing camels. So we had to come up with that one pretty fast.
I love that idea, and I love how one idea can spark another, and you're making sure all those camels are safe and healthy and performing well. How brilliant from County Meath. I love it. Annie, that's just incredible. Thank you so much for sharing your story. That's just wonderful.
Us back now. Welcome back, everybody, for the final wrap-up session. I don't know about anybody else, but our three panelists this evening are just absolute trailblazers. So I think it's really important that we use the final time to get as many golden nuggets from them as possible. So I'm going to fire a few more questions their way, and please do use the chat. And if I can get through as many, I'll try to get through as many as possible if you have other questions for them. So firstly, I have a question for Ailbhe, which was submitted by Karen McCormick. Ailbhe, do you get advice around your partnerships, or do you rely on your own instinct and feelings around it? So is it more, do you rely on your gut instinct as well?
It's all gut. So I choose designers whose work I really love, and like I love designers who've worked on kind of projects that might be for social good before, so I know that's something that they're going to be passionate about. We've had over 2,000 applications now from designers who want to work with Izzy Wheels, which is amazing, and we're really lucky to have worked with all the different designers. And we get really good friends with all the designers we work with as well. And then with the bigger brand partnerships that we do, like the Barbie and Hello Kitty, we've got another really big one coming up in like a month. Then we get legal advice, because the amount of legalities that are in place. So you just have to make sure that you fully understand what you're signing yourself up to, because those big brands, there's so much around using their designs and their logos and how you market things, that you really have to go into it knowing that it's a job in itself. But in terms of who we work with, I make the final call and all of that, and I do trust my gut, and I go with designers whose work I love.
And then I'm just going to throw, thank you, I'm just going to throw a question out to everyone, the three of you. So firstly, Ailbhe, because you're on screen there, what differentiates you from your peers, and what are the 3 things about you that have helped you on your entrepreneurial journey so far? And that's been submitted by Sinead Crowley.
It's a big question.
Yeah.
Thank you. I guess just being authentic. So like at the beginning of kind of the business journey and like the transition of being what I thought was like I was going to be an artist to then being a businesswoman, I felt like a massive oddball at kind of business events because me and Izzy dress kind of, we've got our own way of dressing. It's very colourful and kind of loud, very loud actually. But that's what we like. And something that has always stood to us was staying true to that and not trying to be anything else or just being ourselves. And people kind of know us now for our colourful clothes. Believing in yourself, that's something so important because you do have to trust your gut and like you know yourself that your business, you know everything about your business. So be confident in that and tell people about it and be proud of it. That's something really important. And then something else I guess that's always stood to us was just being so protective of our brand. Like your brand is what differentiates you from every other business, the competitors that might already exist or the ones that are around the corner. You have to be so protective of your brand, and that's something that's always been really important. So any kind of like we pour our heart and soul into our brand, and we love it and we take care of it, and that's something that is so important.
Thanks, Ailbhe. I'll just invite Naomi. Naomi, what differentiates you from your peers, and have you any additional things to add to the points that Ailbhe made?
I think it kind of links in, but it's the fact that I'm so passionate about what I'm doing. And I think your passion for your business will shine through no matter what, because if you aren't interested in it, then nobody else will be. So you have to fully believe in it and actually allow people to see that as well, that you know it's going to work and you will have many sleepless nights to make sure it does. And then it's having a bit of stubbornness as well to ignore the people that you know, like you take on the advice from other people, but you have to also know which advice you want to accept. And for me, I really realized to kind of cut out some of the negativity that you could see. And I think finally it's with the people that surround you when you have no money and cheerleading you on are the real people that you want to hold on tight to, and the people that are willing to offer you advice and for nothing in exchange for it are really the people you just want to surround yourself with. It's not the people that only appear whenever something good happens. It's you want the people that are going to help you shine on your worst days, because an entrepreneur's journey is hard.
It is. It's a roller coaster, and you need people who are there with you through the thick and thin, and cheerleading you on the days that you're down and you need the cheerleading, not whenever everything's going well. So can I just invite Annie as well to add to that? Have you any points to add to the other 2 panelists?
Yeah, I think definitely agreeing with both Naomi and Ailbhe there. But yeah, I think definitely just a really important thing for us was just always have room to grow and be willing to learn and make mistakes and learn from them. And I think kind of just obviously like the interest thing again that Naomi was saying is hugely important. But just yeah, to keep think of the obstacles and the hard days is a good thing. Because there's going to be some and we still have so many, but really just learning from them, and for us that was really important, and be willing to learn, grow, and yeah, just keep going and never give up. It's very cliche, but it really actually does mean a lot.
And that brings me to my next question for you, Annie, and then in terms of growth and growing the business, what would you say are the 2 things you need to focus on now over the next 2 to 5 years, both as a female founder and for your company growth and success?
Yeah, I think the first thing would definitely be see how the market's going, and for us that's always changing in the industry that we're in and what people want to buy. because it is a business, as I was saying earlier, at the end of the day, and you have to supply products that people want. So it's really, that market's always changing, and you just have to try to stay ahead of the competition as much as you can, and really just keep on top of things, be innovative, take initiative, all the usual stuff, but try and actually do it. And then the second thing probably would just be, I think also Kate and I have learned probably from the last few years that it's not just about growing the business, but it's also growing the skills that you can develop as a person. And I think that that's really important, because it means that even if this business, not even that it doesn't work out, but if you move on to another project or something more important, or something that's has the opportunity to be more successful, you've already gained so much and so many new skills that you can just transfer across, and that those years or those long days you've put into it won't be for nothing, because you've actually gained so much that you can take with you into whatever industry you're working in, and not just to a specific one.
That's fabulous. And I'm still in awe of the three of you, of being so young and having come so far on your entrepreneurial journey. I mean, miles ahead sometimes of people who are twice and three times your age, which is amazing. So if I can just bring Ailbhe back in. Ailbhe, for the question, what would you say are the two things you need to focus on for the next 2 to 5 years, in terms of growth and personal?
Sure. I think what Annie was saying there was so true. Like, you have to keep learning. So, being innovative with the business is something that's really important, but you have to keep developing yourself as well as a business person. Like, doing accelerated programs has been something that's been really beneficial for me and Izzy, because neither of us have a business background. We have very different backgrounds. Izzy studying sociology and politics in college, and my background's graphic design. So as a business owner, you also have to be an accountant and a marketeer and a salesperson and all these different things. So keep learning and keep entering new programs and surrounding yourself with all different kinds of people as well. And I think, like, having a group of friends, like, I've always had my home friends, but then also having friends in your industry is really important. So going to events like this is really, really important, because you get different perspectives and you meet people with different personalities and you learn so much from other people. So that's my advice.
It's like treating every day as a school day, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So just finally, Naomi, if I can bring you in, if you've anything to add.
Yeah, I think for my entrepreneurial journey, it's really just taking on the challenges. Like right now for me, I want my product launched within the next year to 18 months. And that's a big challenge and it's a big target, but I want to do it. So that's kind of my thing that I need to do. And then in terms of personal, for me, I see this opportunity as a time that I can actually show that a female can be an engineer and be a ballet dancer, and the lovely relationship between arts and STEM. I feel like I have to use this opportunity now and use my voice to amplify to the next generation of girls coming through, that just because you want to wear a pink leotard doesn't mean that you won't be able to handle a building site. Like, I just feel like this is the time I have to use to inspire others, because now I have a platform to be able to show that it is possible for girls to do this.
Thank you. And we're coming to the end of time. And just based on that, when you talk about using the opportunity, I'm just going to throw the question out to the three of you. You're on the Awakenhub call today, and there's over 50 on the call. And there's also the network. What's your ask for today from the network, and how can we help? If you have any.
For me, it is that I realized that my advisor board, I have an amazing advisor board, but it's all men. So I need a woman on my team. That's my big ask, that I need to have that in. I didn't realize that it happened by mistake. So that's my big ask.
There you go, taking interviews now, Naomi. Ailbhe, have you got any asks for the community?
Do I have any asks? I don't think I have any asks. I'm going to definitely come to the next meeting though. I thought that this was so interesting. So yeah, I'll definitely join you guys next time.
That's good, thank you. And Annie?
I'm trying to think as well here.
Putting you on the spot.
Yeah, no, I think definitely not even for us on a personal level, but I think even just to encourage everyone, like even in the breakout rooms, you were all talking about your small kids, 10, 11, 12 years old, just to encourage them that kind of what Naomi's saying as well, they can do both, they can do everything. And that's really important, just coming from the three of us, obviously all young entrepreneurs, that you can start at any age. And I think to encourage your own kids to do that as well.
Brilliant, thank you. Ladies, thanks very much. And also keep an eye on the chat, because although we were asking you what your ask for us, there's a lot of expertise within the network that are very keen to help other female founders and entrepreneurs. So if anyone's interested in the US market or investment readiness is the date for diary for our next Awakenhub event, which is on the 20th of April. So get the date in your calendar. As usual, the hour has flew in, and for once it doesn't happen very often. We've run it over time, which is my fault, and I'm usually the time police. So thank you for joining us this evening from the Awakenhub team, the Awakenhub community. Very big thanks to Annie, Ailbhe and Naomi. It was a pleasure, and also Mary Carty. Thank you.